Hi, hello. Okay, I'm sorry, this is really bright, but if you don't know me, my name is Alina and I am a certified personal trainer, and in this video I wanted to talk about Ramadan, the fasting month for Muslims that's coming up very soon, and some tips and some strategies that I've used in the past to try and make sure that I stay as healthy as I can during this month, even though it can be really hard with all the hours and everything like that. So basically, if you don't know, and this is the first time you're hearing about it, Ramadan is a 30-day month in the Islamic calendar during which Muslims are required to fast from sunrise to sunset. Fasting includes many things, but the ones that I'm going to focus on are just abstaining from food and water. A lot of people forget that you also are supposed to be really nice and not grumpy during this time too, but we'll work on that later. Anyway, so abstaining from food and water, and that can be very difficult, especially when the weather is warmer, when you become more dehydrated, and essentially your energy is really down. So something that I get a lot of questions on is, do you work out during Ramadan? Can you work out? Is it safe? Is it healthy? How do I do it? When do I do it? And all of that. So the question that I want to answer specifically in this video, and I'll get to different questions in different videos for sure, so just let me know if I should answer any others. The one that I want to answer is, when is the best time to work out in Ramadan? So I think that working out in Ramadan is really important. I do not stop working out just because it's Ramadan. I just change how I work out and when I work out. By the way, I am Pakistani, so a lot of the terminology that I use is based on that in my speaking Urdu, but I'll do my best to make sure I use different words, so just make sure everyone can get the most out of this video. So there are two main events, I like to call it, in the day during Ramadan. The first one is sehri or suhoor, which is the early morning meal. That's what you eat, drink before the fasting day starts. And so that usually requires getting up very early and eating food half asleep and then falling back asleep if you can. I can't usually, but I try. And then the evening meal, the breaking fast meal, which iftari, however, whatever word you use in your culture, I'm so sorry, I don't know more than just that one. And I wanted to break this down into 4 options of when you could work out and the pros and cons of each. The first option is to work out before sehri or suhoor, which is the early morning meal. And that would mean if, for example, sehri ends at 5:30, that's when you have to stop eating or drinking. It varies based on where you are, obviously. Then you would work out maybe at 4 a.m., finish working out, then have your meal, and then go back to sleep, ideally. That is, I think, a really good way to do it, but is also, I think, the most difficult way to do it, in the sense that all of them are very difficult, but it's very difficult in the sense that it requires, first of all, you waking up earlier. So if you are working, if you have other responsibilities, then that could really interfere with your sleep, because if you don't fall asleep until late at night anyway, and then you have to wake up at 4, then being consistent with it can be difficult. So if you do struggle with consistency, I might opt out of this option. But if you naturally do enjoy waking up and getting things over with in the morning, then maybe waking up at 4 a.m. is a good way to try and get your workout in, then have sehri, and then you don't have to think about it for the rest of the day. If you do this, and this is true for any of the times if you work out for Ramadan, I suggest decreasing the intensity of everything you do. So if you usually do 40 minutes of really intense exercise, I would do 20 to 30 minutes of maybe moderate intensity exercise, because you have to remember your body's going through longer periods of dehydration, your body's going through longer periods of just not having the energy, not having as much energy. And to make yourself do more than your body is capable of at a certain point can lead to injury, it can lead to just fatigue and all of these things, and it's not worth it, in my opinion, because Ramadan is not a time to try and make new goals, fitness and health-wise, to try and accomplish. It's not the time to start training for your marathon or to start lifting twice as much as you usually do. In Ramadan, the goal for me personally is just to maintain where I am. So just basically not gain weight, not lose weight, not be able to run more, nothing. I just want to be able to say that at the beginning of the month and at the end of the month, I didn't lose a ton of progress. I did not let myself go. I did not stop caring about my health. And for that perspective, just changing 40 minutes of intense exercise to 20 to 30 minutes of moderate intensity is more than enough. And I've been doing this for how many years now? 18 years? Not 18, sorry, since I was 16, 17. So it's been working so far. I've had success with it. I've never had to stop working out during Ramadan, and whatever I'm saying is based on my experience. So if you are going to work out before your morning meal, just keep that in mind. I'll give ideas for workouts in a different video, but just for the time situation, that's what I would recommend. The other option is to work out after your morning meal. So the idea would be that you just have all this food, you have this water, you're good, you feel good, and now you want to work out. I guess that's okay, but it's not my favorite simply because I do support the idea that after you work out, you should have something to eat or drink. And if you work out after fasting starts, then you can't eat or drink anything for however many hours you're fasting after that, which could be upwards of like 14 hours. So I don't think that that's the ideal time. However, if it works for you, please go for it. Just be careful. Do not overdo it. Don't go for like a run or do sprints or something that'll really dehydrate you, because you won't be able to have water for so long afterwards. So I think it's just about being smart with it. Activities like yoga or Pilates or something lower intensity could be doable as long as you feel good during it. But I would say that working out after the morning meal is probably my least favorite of the options. The other option is to work out, and this is the one that I usually do, is to work out right before the meal to break your fast. So if, let's say, and again, the timing will depend on where you are and everything like that, but let's say iftar or the meal to break your fast is at 8 p.m. I would work out starting at like 7 p.m. or 6:30 p.m. And I would strategize or plan it in such a way where as soon as I'm done working out, I can have water, or as soon as I'm done working out, I can go shower, and then it'll be time for the meal. And that way I have, first of all, something to do to kill that like last hour and a half that's like increasingly difficult to get through because you're just waiting to be able to eat. And you can have food and water afterwards, which again I've mentioned is really important. And also, for some reason, I just have energy during that time, so it just works for me. It's like a fasted workout that some people would do in the morning. So if you're used to working out first thing in the morning before you eat anything, and then just like showering and getting food into your system after, it's kind of a similar concept. You're just moving it later in the day. The other thing that I really like about that is that keeps my evenings free for after the meal. So there are some days where I will work out after the breaking fast meal. It's like the hours are different or something comes up. But the reason that's kind of difficult, the working out after, is because then those like 7 hours where you have energy and you can do other things like spend time with your family and be awake during it, or go to a gathering or anything like that. I know right now with everything going on that will not be very feasible for many of us, but just having that time where I'm awake and alert and being like able to have caffeine or be able to do work properly, I like to save that. And so that's why I don't like to spend that time working out, and I'd rather just get the workout over with before. But if you do work out after iftar, that is also a really good option, because you can obviously eat and drink after. You have the energy from eating and drinking before. But if you will work out after the iftar breaking fast meal, keep in mind that you shouldn't eat too much before working out, because then you'll feel sluggish. And you know that feeling you get when you have a huge meal and all you want to do is just lie down because your body's taking up so much energy just to digest everything you consumed? That happens a lot, I think, with a lot of people. So if you're good at being able to control yourself and just like have a small meal, workout, and then have like dinner afterwards, working out after iftar is totally fine. But you have to know yourself. So out of these 4 options, I'm not saying any of them are terrible. They're all reasonable. It just means figuring out what works for your schedule, what works for your energy levels, what works with your family, especially now with like Corona and everything. We all have our responsibilities. I don't think they've gone away or anything. They've just changed in the way they look in our everyday lives. So figuring that all out in advance, I think, is really important. And to tell you to keep in mind is that, again, Ramadan is not the time to reach new heights in your fitness journey. It's the time to just maintain and remember that part of taking care of yourself spiritually and mentally and emotionally can involve taking care of yourself physically. And I genuinely believe that taking care of your physical health is increasingly important, and it's a way to show respect to what God has given you, meaning like a functioning body that's able to move. And respecting that is, for me, a very big part of Ramadan. So that's why I do promote working out during Ramadan. I just don't promote doing it in any type of extreme way. So I typically like to do every other day like workouts. So things like a lot of body weight exercises that are less taxing on my body. So I'll do squats or leg raises, or use smaller weights to do some arm exercises. So nothing extreme, but just to like keep the muscle that I have and keep everything working to some degree. I will avoid higher intensity exercises like sprints or jump squats or anything like that. I will alternate days because I think that's good for conserving energy, because you will be feeling more tired. And to work out 6 days a week during Ramadan, I don't think personally is feasible for me, so I'm not going to promote that. Every other day for me seems to work out well, so it's really just like sucking it up for 15 days that your workouts are going to look different, and just being okay with it and understanding that there's more to this month, which is a struggle for me, and I'm still working on it, but I've gotten a lot better, so there is hope. And the days that I don't work out, I'll try and go for a walk before iftar. I find that really helps with just clearing my head and, you know, feeling good, feeling a little bit more energized. And I always promote walking. If you follow me on Instagram, then you'll know I'm constantly just recording stories while I'm on walks, because I think that they're just really helpful. And so that way I have like a balance, I'm not overdoing it, I feel good. And yeah, that's my take on working out during Ramadan, depending on how you want to pronounce it. So I hope that was helpful. If it was, please leave a like. You can subscribe if you want to. You don't have to, whatever you want. And I will hopefully see you next time. Bye.